Hello, and welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Nick. Thanks for tuning in today, wherever you are, however you're feeling, we're really glad you're here. Today we're talking about something that affects all of us at some point, the pressure to have everything figured out.
Yeah, that pressure can be so subtle, but so heavy. Like, even when no one's asking you directly, there's this quiet voice saying, you should know by now. You should have a plan. You should be certain. But what if you're not? What if you're just figuring it out as you go?
And that's more normal than we think, isn't it? But we rarely admit it. We feel like we need to have a 5-year plan, or a clear purpose, or at least a polished answer when someone asks, so, what are you doing with your life? But the truth is, sometimes we just don't know.
And that's not failure. That's life. It changes. We change. And not having all the answers doesn't mean we're lost. It just means we're human. And maybe the real challenge is learning to sit with that uncertainty without letting it shame us.
It's funny, isn't it? We're all kind of winging it, pretending we're not. Hoping no one notices the bits we're unsure about. But maybe the strength isn't in pretending, we think it is. Maybe it's in being honest about the fact that we're still learning, still unfolding.
And that honesty can feel really vulnerable, especially in a world that rewards certainty. But the truth is, most people are also carrying questions they don't talk about. So when you say, actually, I don't have it all figured out, you're giving other people permission to breathe too.
And I think that's something we need more of, space to admit we're still working things out. That we're not walking around with perfect blueprints for our lives. Just ideas. Hopes. Maybe a rough sketch. And that's okay.
Absolutely. And the thing is, some of the most important parts of life, the ones that shape us the most, don't come with clear answers anyway. Things like, who am I becoming, or what do I really want? Those are questions we return to again and again, not problems we solve once and for all.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the pressure comes from feeling like life is a test and we're meant to have the right answer every time. But it's not a test, it's more like an unfolding. A process. And the moments when we don't know are often where the real growth happens.
Because when you admit you don't know, you stay open. Open to learning, to changing, to discovering something new. And that openness, that's where the magic is. Not in having it all sorted, but in allowing yourself to keep exploring.
It's kind of freeing, isn't it? Once you stop holding yourself to this impossible standard of certainty, you realize how much pressure you've been carrying without even noticing. And how much lighter life feels when you say, I don't have the answer yet, and that's all right.
And sometimes, that's the bravest thing you can say. Not, I've got it all together, but I'm figuring it out, one step at a time. And that honesty. That's where connection begins. That's where peace begins.
And the beautiful thing is, not having all the answers doesn't stop you from moving forward. You can still take steps, still show up, still grow, even in the uncertainty. You don't have to wait until you're completely sure before you begin.
Right? Some of the most meaningful things we do start with a bit of doubt. A bit of wondering. And if we waited until everything made perfect sense, we'd probably never start. Clarity often comes after the step, not before it.
And even then, clarity changes. What felt right a year ago might not fit anymore. And that doesn't mean you were wrong, it just means you're evolving. What's true now might not be true forever, and learning to be okay with that can be one of the most freeing things.
We don't give ourselves enough credit for how we navigate the in-between. The questions. The waiting. The uncertainty. There's so much strength in that space, even if it doesn't look impressive from the outside.
And I think the more comfortable we get with not knowing, the more we can actually enjoy the journey. It becomes less about reaching the answer, and more about experiencing the unfolding of who we are. With all the mess and mystery that comes with it.
It's like living the question, rather than rushing to fix it. Letting the question be part of your day. Letting it teach you something. Letting it stretch you, soften you, keep you curious. And maybe that's the point, not always having the answer, but being willing to stay in the conversation.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes us more grounded, more human. When we stop pretending and start admitting, I'm in the middle of it. I don't have it all worked out. It removes the mask. And that honesty creates space for real connection and real growth.
Because the truth is, nobody really knows what they are doing all the time. We all have doubts. We all second-guess ourselves. And sometimes, just hearing someone else say, "Same here," can be enough to help us breathe a bit deeper.
There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from accepting uncertainty. It's not loud or flashy, it doesn't need to be. It's more like, I don't know yet, and that's all right. I trust myself to figure it out as I go.
And that trust is something you build slowly. Every time you take a step without knowing the full plan, every time you make a decision that doesn't come with a guarantee, you're learning to trust your own judgment, your own timing.
It's also about being gentle with yourself when things don't go how you thought they would. Because not having the answers doesn't mean you're lost, it just means you're still on the way. Still learning. Still unfolding. And honestly, maybe that's where the most meaningful parts of life begin.
And I think the more we lean into that idea, that life is meant to be lived, not solved, the more we begin to relax. We stop trying to control every outcome. We stop needing everything to add up right away. We start allowing things to take the time they need.
And that patience, that space, is where real wisdom grows. Not rushed, not forced. Just gently, in layers. Through mistakes, reflection, change. You realize it's not about having all the answers, it's about having the courage to keep asking the right questions.
Exactly. And the questions don't need to be tidy. They can be messy. They can sit with you for months, years even. Am I where I'm supposed to be? What does happiness look like for me now? What do I really need? The beauty is in asking. In staying open.
And sometimes, the answer doesn't come as a sentence. Sometimes it's a feeling. A shift. A moment where you feel more like yourself than you did before. And it doesn't solve everything, but it reminds you that you're still moving, still becoming.
So maybe not having all the answers isn't a sign of failure. Maybe it's a sign that you're awake to your life. You're paying attention. You're listening. And that in itself is something to be proud of.
Because living with uncertainty doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're human. It means you're honest. And it means you're exactly where you need to be right now, even if you don't quite see the full picture yet.
So if you're in a season where the answers feel far away, or things just aren't clear yet, we hope this reminds you, you're not doing it wrong. You're just in the middle of something. And that middle is still meaningful.
You don't need to rush clarity. You don't need to have a 5-year plan. Sometimes the most honest thing you can do is say, I don't know yet. And trust that it's enough to simply be where you are.
Thanks for being with us in this space, where we can talk honestly about the parts of life that don't always come with neat solutions. If today's episode brought you a bit of peace, or helped you feel less alone, that's more than enough.
And if you ever need a quiet reminder that you're allowed to grow slowly, question freely, and move forward without every answer, just know, we're always here.
We'll catch you next time on the British Accent Podcast. Be kind to yourself in the not knowing. You're doing better than you think.
Take care. Speak soon.